Today we're reacting to Tunish, how to write black characters. Let's check it out.
I am so tired of seeing black characters in media written in the most stereotypical ways possible. And it's all
Me too. Me too. I'm tired as well too. Thank you for this being like your intro to say I'm as well tired as well.
always the same played out stereotypes recycled over and over again. A lot of the times in TV shows, cartoons, and movies, black characters are only allowed to exist in one specific lane. Look at Andre's grandma in Victorious, Dejanay from the Proud Family, Ivy from Good Luck Charlie, Lashana from Total Drama Island. I could honestly keep going. The list is long, and that alone should tell you something. When you look at these characters, the question isn't just who they are, it's what they're being reduced to. What behaviors are consistently being assigned to them? What role are they always being pushed into? A lot of the time, these characters are written to be loud, obnoxious, overly sassy, undesirable, or exaggerated to the point of a caricature. The way they speak, the way they move, the way that they react in an over-exaggerated way that feels less like a personality and more like a performance. I'm so over it. At this point, I'm genuinely starting to question whether or not the writers are being blatantly racist, or if they truly believe that this is how all black people behave. And honestly, it's probably a combination of both. But also, it could just be ignorance because these tropes are so common in media. Writers believe that this is the right way to write a black character. But regardless, this way of writing...
But it's not. You don't have to write your character like that. There's so many other ways you can write a black character, specifically a black female character as well. Since you're mentioning black female characters, there's so many ways you could do. So many ways.
Black characters is not okay. And whenever I discuss topics like this, some people love to say things like, well, these stereotypes exist for a reason, or we all know black people that act just like that. And that mindset is exactly why these portrayals keep happening. That mindset is what convinces...
Yep, and that's how we get this. We get stuff like that.
people that these narrow depictions are...
Just because it exists somewhere in the world doesn't mean that defines every person that's black or black female. Like, not all black people are made the same, not all black women are made the same, so you can't just want off that, you know what I mean?
Accurate. It's what makes writers believe that this is the correct and only way to write black characters. And it's what feeds black people lies about who we're supposed to be. That mindset is harmful, period. So if you're getting ready to type something like that, or if you're getting ready to say it's not that deep, then this video is not for you. But if you clicked on this video because you genuinely want to understand how black characters are written, why these portrayals are damaging, and how to do better, then keep watching. Because writing black characters really doesn't have to be complicated. And once you start paying attention to how different characters are written,
it's not. You can just write them just like any other character. All it is just a different skin tone. That's it. You can write them just like every other character. All it is that makes them different is just the skin tone of the character. You don't have to add anything else. Just,
written and treated in media, then the problem becomes impossible to ignore. And that's where we need to start. I know I talk about Dejanay a lot when it comes to this topic, but that's genuinely because she's one of the clearest examples of how black characters, especially dark-skinned black characters, are written to embody the same recycled stereotypes over and over again in media. Dejanay is constantly being framed as fake, untrustworthy, selfish, loud, and obnoxious. She's known for backstabbing her friends, crossing boundaries, and being inconsiderate. And while other characters on the show have their own flaws, her flaws are emphasized, exaggerated, and repeatedly highlighted in a way that makes them feel defining. And it's not just about what she does, it's about how the show presents her. From her character design to the way that other characters respond to her, there's a clear effort to paint her as undesirable. The audience is meant to laugh at her, cringe at her, and dismiss her. Even the way her romantic interest is written reinforces that idea. Dejanay chases after Sticky, a boy who is constantly written to be irritated by her presence, embarrassed by her attention, and outright disgusted by her. And that dynamic isn't treated as sad or concerning, it's played for laughs. Her rejection is part of the joke. And that matters. This quote-unquote humor comes from the idea that Dejanay is laughable. Her desires are laughable. Her confidence is laughable. And her overall presence is laughable. And that pattern extends to her mannerisms as well. Her behavior is over-exaggerated in ways that mirrors how black characters have been animated and written for decades. The exaggerated neck rolling, the dramatic hand movements, the loud reactions, and the over-the-top expressions.
Yo, dead guys, get away, wanted you to cool it. Seen your hot date Jasmine lately?
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you.
It's just funny because like, yo, every black female character does that for some reason. Like it's just like they're written to just do those type of, like, emotes and stuff. It's just hilarious to me. Now, you see it this way. It's just so hilarious. I wonder if she's gonna touch on like the black male characters too, cause like, see like how they're written.
These traits show up again and again across media, especially when it comes to black characters. And more often than not, dark-skinned black women and girls. And when you see those same mannerisms repeated across different shows, different networks, and different areas, it stops feeling like a coincidence and it starts to feel intentional. These traits are used as a visual and behavior cue to tell the audience exactly how they're supposed to feel about these characters, before they even get a chance to speak. And that's the issue. Dejanay isn't written as a flawed character who sometimes messes up. She's simply written as a flawed character. The one whose negative traits are constant, whose growth is limited, and whose humanity is really given the same care as the other characters around her. And when you zoom out, you realize that this isn't just about Dejanay. She's part of a much larger pattern where black characters are repeatedly assigned these same roles, these same traits, and the same narrative purpose. They exist to be loud, to be messy, to be the joke, to be undesirable, to be tolerated instead of valued. And when this portrayal shows up once, it might be able to be brushed off. But when it shows up across multiple shows, across multiple generations, and across multiple networks, it stops being an isolated character choice and starts becoming a statement about how black people are viewed. So the real question is why? Why are these the traits that keeps getting assigned to black characters?
I don't know if she's gonna mention this, but I've been sitting here thinking, I feel like this has something to do with old Hollywood. I feel this, the negative stereotypes, especially black women, because right now she's just talking about black female characters. I think most of this stems from old Hollywood, before black actors could be on scene, because they're like, black characters, and we're only reduced to a certain role. And I feel like some of that transfer over to like you could say like new age media, new age television and movies. I'm gonna say this. I feel like most of this stems from like the mammy caricature, if so to speak. That's how I say it. I feel like some of the the nuances of the black female characters in TV shows, whether it be live action or cartoons. I think some of that stems from like the mammy caricature, that like ain't your mama caricature. I'm not sure if Tunish is gonna like speak on that, but that's how I see it. Like I feel like it stems from that. It's just like a repackaged version of the mammy ain't your mama caricature.
Why are these the behaviors that writers default to? And why is it that when black characters are written, they're often filtered through stereotypes instead of just being treated as full individuals? Those are the questions we need to be asking. When white characters are written, I highly doubt that writers are sitting around overthinking about how to make them fit into some stereotype.
So yeah, that's what I think. That's what I genuinely think. I think it does stems from like old Hollywood, times where black actors and actresses didn't have good roles, and they're only like made to be fit in a certain stereotype that people at the time saw them as. That's what I think. And what she's saying is a good point. Like I think I said this earlier in the video. You can write a black character just like any other character in the show. Only difference is it's just your skin tone. Like you can have a black character just like number one. Only difference is that character just has a different skin tone. But you're gonna take a character that looks like number one, that's black, and make him have negative black stereotypes for no reason. Maybe we could see that with number 5. You can see that with number 5, how she's written compared to the rest of the cast of K&D.
or an idea of what a white person is supposed to be. They're usually just writing a character that happens to be white. White characters are treated as the
You could do the same thing with black characters. That's what I've been trying to say. You can write a black character just regular way, without no negative stereotypes. But it is what it is.
default. And because of that, they're allowed to simply exist as characters and individuals. They get to have a wide range of
I don't know why we can't just exist to exist. It's like, it kind of goes back to my last video about Captain Dewbag. Why was that made? Like, why can't you just have a superhero that just happens to be a black superhero? Like, he just why does it have to be like a stereotype? Like, you made a black superhero, right? But at the same time, you enforce stereotypes on that character. You could have just been a regular superhero. You could have been like, I don't know, just Captain something, whatever. Like, but Captain Dewback it just sounds disingenuous. Like, it's just very disingenuous. Especially if it's a black woman that made that. It's just crazy. Like, I don't know, it be your own people too. I'm not gonna lie, it be your own people sometimes.
personalities, values, flaws, strengths, looks, and interests. And that's exactly why white audiences are able to see so many positive and varied representations of themselves in media. The majority of white characters aren't written through a stereotypical lens. So they get heroes, villains, outgoing characters, introverts, geniuses, comic relief, love interests, background characters, and main characters on a regular basis. They get to have balance on a regular basis. No single white character is ever expected to represent all white people, because there are so many different portrayals across TV shows, cartoons, and movies. It's never just one type of character.
The same could be said about black people. The same could be said. Not all black people remain the same. Yes, you have those ones that I guess live like listening to negative stereotypes, but not everyone lives like that. Not everyone has the same experiences. Not everyone. It's just. So I don't know why you have to write every black person the same. You don't have to. Just like you can make an entire original series on a black character just like Finn. Like, I just don't understand why black people don't have good stories. Like, it's crazy. Like, it really is.
Full catalog of character types on a regular basis. On the other hand, most black characters in media are written to be one specific way on a regular basis. Instead of being written as individuals, they're often written through stereotypes. Many black characters are constructed to fit a narrow set of reoccurring tropes, and those same tropes get recycled over and over and over again across different shows, movies, and cartoons. It's the same portrayals repeated again and again and again, and that repetition is harmful. And this isn't me saying that there aren't black people who act in some of these ways. That's not the argument. The issue is that these behaviors are not unique to just black people. Traits like being aggressive, sassy, loud, or always being the comic relief exist for people of all races. There are plenty non-black people who act the same exact way. But for some reason, those traits are disproportionately assigned to black characters as if they are inherently black traits. And that's where the harm comes in. Even if some people do fit certain traits, it doesn't stop there. Even if some black people do fit certain traits, it doesn't just stop there. That isn't the full picture. So why is it that media so often stops there? Why are black characters constantly being portrayed in such limiting ways? And just to go back and reiterate, I'm not saying that people with these types of personalities don't exist. They do. That's not the point. The point is the undeniable pattern in media that repeatedly places these traits onto black characters, and most of the time onto dark-skinned black characters specifically. And if you don't see a problem with that, then that's part of what keeps these negative stereotypes alive. These portrayals push the idea that certain behaviors are tied to dark-skinned black people, when in reality, people of all races and skin tones can have these same traits, and they do. So again, why do they keep getting written into the same characters over and over again? If you want one of your characters to have this kind of personality in your show, that's fine. The problem comes in when that character is almost always the black character, or more specifically, the dark-skinned black character. A way to change this is to spread those traits around. Let different characters have them. Show that these behaviors aren't tied to one specific race.
I have a question to this. Wouldn't this also be some type of like flanderization of the character as well? Wouldn't this like flanderize the character?
race or skin tone. And when writing black characters, allow there to be black characters of different skin tones who all have different personalities. And stop making the dark-skinned black character the one that always carries the negative traits. That sends a damaging message. And for people like me, who looks like these characters and have their same skin complexion, it's exhausting and disheartening to constantly see ourselves portrayed in media in the same negative and stereotypical way.
It's not good representation when you see characters like that looks just like you. It's definitely not good representation.
These portrayals send a false message. They suggest that all black people are the same, that we all behave the same, that we all fit into this one narrow image. When viewers...
We don't. That's what I've been saying this in this whole video. We don't. Everyone's life is totally different. Not everyone lives the same life. Not everyone lives the same lifestyle. Not everyone lives the same experiences. You cannot pigeonhole all black people the same. You cannot. You just cannot. Just like you cannot pigeonhole all Hispanic people. Because not all Hispanic people are the same. Not all white people are the same. Not all Asian people are the same. Not all Native American people are the same. Not all Middle Eastern, North African people are the same. Not all Pacific Islanders are the same. Not everyone's not the same, because not everyone lives the same experiences or same lifestyles. Not everyone have the same social economical class. It is what it is.
Consume this kind of media over and over again, these portrayals start to feel like the truth. Repetition turns these stereotypes into something that people accept as reality. Audiences begin to internalize these depictions as...
Okay, so this is from Family Guy, I know. But doesn't this give you, like I said, that old school, old Hollywood mammy caricature? That ancient mama caricature. Is that just me? Because it's just what it feels like. I feel like this does stem from that. It just feels like it stems from that. Since we're talking about black female characters, that's how I see some of these black female characters, where they come from, where their predecessor is.
The one and only accurate representation of black people in real life. And the stereotypes continue to spread beyond the screen. People start to look at real black people through the same lens that they've been shown in media. And the cycle doesn't just stop there. When viewers decide that they want to create their own shows, movies, or cartoons, they often look back at what they've already seen. They use those stereotypical portrayals as reference. Or they take the stereotypes that they learn from media and treat them as factual. Then they write all of their black characters the same way, falling into the same harmful patterns and repeating the cycle over and over again. And this creates a self-perpetuating loop where stereotypes keep getting passed down instead of challenged. Black children are especially harmed by this. Kids naturally look for characters that they can identify with. We all did. When we're young, watching shows or movies with a group of characters, we all imagine ourselves as one of them. We pick our favorites for a reason. Maybe a character wore your favorite color, maybe they shared the same hobby as you, or maybe they just reminded you of yourself. And a lot of the time, we gravitate towards the characters who physically look like us. But what happens when a character who looks like you is always a joke? What happens when they're constantly being portrayed as undesirable, loud, aggressive, or reduced to negative stereotypes about your culture? And what happens when you turn on another show and another one and another one and another one, and you keep seeing the same images repeated again and again? What kind of message do you think that sends? Over time, that can cause a young black viewer to start to believe those things about themselves, even when it's not true. And that kind of messaging sticks with you, and it's unfair. We deserve better than that. We deserve positive representations of ourselves in media. We deserve black characters with a full range of personalities, emotions, strengths, flaws, interests, and humanity, not just one recycled image. So when people ask how to write a black character, the answer is really simple. You simply just write a full character who happens to be black. And there are characters who prove that...
Exactly. You can write a black character in any setting, in any environment. Just write them just like they're just a regular character. Only difference is their skin tone. You could put a black character in a fantasy setting. You could put a black character in a mystery setting. You could put a black character in a drama setting. You could put a black character in an action setting, in a comedy setting, in a sci-fi setting. Just because they're black does not define them. They're more than just their skin tone and their race. You can write these characters in imaginable ways without reducing them to stereotypes. They're just regular people living a regular life, and in whatever story they're in. Like, you can look at any character, right? let's go back for example. Let's see. I'm use American Dragon Jake Long. Imagine a story, right? Where hold on, let me go full count for this. Imagine a story, right? Where it's just the same thing as American Dragon Jake Long, where the male character, right? Because Jake's male, the male character's a black kid, a young black boy, living in the city. So just New York City, right? It's been a long time since I've seen Jake Long. A black kid living in the city, living in New York. He finds out that his family comes from an ancestral line, just like Jake did, just like Jake's family. You can use elements like African folklore. You see what I'm saying? You can use like cool folklore from Africa or the Caribbean or wherever his lineage is, this black kid's lineage is, or maybe even American folklore, black American folklore, whatever, and use that as the basis of the story. Use that as him learning about his heritage, learning about his lineage, learning about his family, his ancestors, learning, incorporating like these story elements, these like not only teaching young black kids about their history as well. You could it's just so much you could do. You can make this turn into a positive thing without reducing to stereotypes. You can make that black character be the lead and everything. And I just know that somehow if someone ever made that story, they're gonna twist it to where if you're because I know Jake's love interest was I think it was Rose. I gotta see that someone trying to make something like that, and Rose is the love interest, and I would think that instead of the love interest be somewhere else in this case, because you know where I'm going at. Let's just address the elephant in the room. If somehow that was made today, where like I'm saying, a black male character, somehow, some ways they're gonna incorporate a white woman. No offense to white people, white women. I just feel like they're gonna put that you know what I mean. It's just like I just think the love interest should be someone else, like a different race or same race, not a white woman or a white female. No offense. I'm not. I'm just saying it just feels like that's also a stereotype in itself for male characters, especially black men. I don't know what's up with that. That's a whole nother topic, a whole nother discussion to have. When it comes to black male characters and their love interests and how. Yeah, but that's besides the point. The point I'm trying to make right now, as of right now, you can take the male character and, like I say, incorporate their lineage, their ancestry, from Africa, or wherever they are in the black diaspora, and retell it, Well, since it's American, I would assume that it'd be like a black American at this point, but with some something to do with their history, black history. I just think it's just an example. It's an example that we can use to showcase the variety, to show you how you can write a character, just like how you could write Jake. You could write a black Jake. His name have to be Jake, and does not have to be a negative, stereotypical black name. You could just give him a regular name. You don't call him John Tavius. I just feel like someone's gonna do that. Someone's gonna be like, "Oh, we're gonna call him John Tavius." You don't have to do that. Just write him. Just write a black character like Jake, a black American character, going through the same struggles as Jake. I hope this is all making sense for you guys. I'm just trying to say that use Jake as an example of how you can rewrite a character in a positive way without using stereotypes, without being reduced to stereotypes. But let's continue the video.
Same harmful patterns and repeating the cycle over and over again. And this creates a self-perpetuating loop where stereotypes keep getting passed down instead of challenged. Black children are especially harmed by this. Kids naturally look for characters that they can identify with. We all did. When we're young, watching shows or movies with a group of characters, we all imagine ourselves as one of them. We pick our favorites for a reason. Maybe a character wore your favorite color, maybe they shared the same hobby as you, or maybe they just reminded you of yourself. And a lot of the time, we gravitate towards the characters who physically look like us. But what happens when a character who looks like you is always a joke? What happens when they're constantly being portrayed as undesirable, loud, aggressive, or reduced to negative stereotypes about your culture? And what happens when you turn on another show and another one and another one and another one, and you keep seeing the same images repeated again and again? What kind of message do you think that sends? Over time, that can cause a young black viewer to start to believe those things about themselves, even when it's not true. And that kind of messaging sticks with you, and it's unfair. We deserve better than that. We deserve positive representations of ourselves in media. We deserve black characters with a full range of personalities, emotions, strengths, flaws, interests, and humanity, not just one recycled image. So when people ask how to write a black character, the answer is really simple. You simply just write a full character who happens to be black. And there are characters who
Exactly. Back to my American Dragon Jake Long example. You just write a black character that happens to be black, and the same storyline as, with the whole your family or dragons or whatever, but you can use like African folklore or whatever folklore that's been passed down in black history. You could just do that without using their negative stereotypes, without reinforcing those stereotypes. And love interest, the love interest just doesn't have to be a white woman. No offense, I'm just saying that sometimes they do that, and it's lazy writing to me. I don't think that black men should be just reduced to just white women. No offense to all my snow bunny lover brothers out there, but we're more than that. We're more than just a snow bunny monkey. Yo, there's like a video. I should react to that one day. This the snow bunny mind control. Yeah, we're more than that. We're more than that. But let's continue.
Prove that this is possible, because we've already seen it done well. These characters step outside the narrow boxes that black characters are often forced into. They reflect care, thought, and intention in their writing. And because of that, they give us the kind of representation that we deserve. Susie from the Rugrats is kind, confident, responsible, and nurturing. She often acts as a moral compass for the babies, and the people around her respect her for her.
Susie and her family are a perfect example of how to write a character. Especially a black character. Especially a black female character.
Intelligence, loyalty, and integrity. She isn't exaggerated for laughs or written as a punchline. She's allowed to be calm, compassionate, and strong. Susie represents leadership and empathy in a way that feels natural and affirming. Gerald from Hey Arnold is loyal, intelligent, brave, and socially aware. He frequently serves as the voice.
Gerald's another good example of how to write a black character. And his family.
Of reason, which speaks to how thoughtful and respected he is within his friend group. He's humorous and charismatic, but his humor never relies on caricature. His personality has layers, and he's treated as a whole person whose opinions matter. Doc McStuffins is a black girl.
Doc McStuffins as well is a good example of how to write a black character, black female character.
With dreams of becoming a doctor, and she spends her time caring for others with patience, curiosity, and compassion. Her character places a black child in a role centered around intelligence, empathy, and healing. She's allowed to be gentle, capable, and aspirational, and that's powerful. Lunella from Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is brilliant.
I never watched this before, but I'm assuming she's also a good example. I don't know if she's going to mention Craig of the Creek, but Craig of the Creek, I love Craig of the Creek. I think that's a good example as well of how to write a character as well.
Creative, and completely herself. She's a hero who's defined by her intellect, curiosity, and heart. Her story celebrates black excellence and culture without turning it into a spectacle. And she stands as an inspiration for young viewers who gets to see a black girl whose mind and individuality is her greatest strength. Craig from Craig of the Creek.
Thank you. Craig from Craig of the Creek is a good example. I just mentioned that earlier before they know she was going to mention it, but yes, Craig of the Creek. I love Craig of the Creek. I think this is a good example of how to write a black character, how to write a black boy how to write a black family. I think this is hands down one of the best examples. I mean, all the examples she showed are great examples, but this is also a good example. Like, see these characters she's given? This is how you can write black characters. This is how black characters should be. This is how they should be written from now on, for the rest of the time.
Exists within the simplicity of childhood. His stories revolve around imagination, leadership, curiosity, and friendship. The show allows him to just be a kid, and it also weaves in black family life and community in a way that feels organic and respectful, rather than performative or exaggerated. Iridessa from Tinkerbell is intelligent, thoughtful, and dependable. She approaches problems with logic and care, often thinking ahead and considering the consequences. Her calm nature is treated as a strength instead of a flaw, and she's never exaggerated for comedy or reduced to stereotypes. She simply exists as a gentle, responsible, and capable character, making her a positive and affirming representation. Virgil from Static Shock is smart.
Static Shock, okay, yeah. Oh, speaking of black superheroes, this is how you write a black superhero. Let me move over here. This is a good example. This is a good example of how to write a black superhero. You don't write a Captain Durag. You write a character like Static Shock. Got it? You write a character that just happens to be black. That's a superhero. You don't reduce him to a freaking stereotype. Okay? This is how you do it. These are the examples you can use to write your black characters. Now you have some good examples. Come on, man.
Determined, inventive, and socially conscious. He's a teenager figuring out life, friendship, school, and responsibility while balancing being a superhero. His growth, values, and choices define him. His black identity is present and meaningful, and is never used in a stereotypical way. Jodie from Daria is thoughtful, ambitious, and emotionally aware. She navigates high school with intelligence and composure, often grappling with race, pressure, and expectations in a way that feels grounded and honest. She's allowed to be vulnerable, but also has agency, showing that black girls can exist on screen as fully realized individuals. And lastly, Garnet from Steven Universe is a leader with emotional depth, wisdom, and agency. Her strength is rooted in self-love, self-assurance, and integrity. She carries herself with confidence, and her presence resonates deeply with audiences because she feels intentional, layered, and dignified. These characters matter because they show nuance, and nuance is essential. What connects all of them is that they're written as individuals first. They're given space to have distinct personalities, motivations, and interests. They're not confined to one narrow image. Seeing characters like this makes a difference. It allows black viewers to see themselves reflected in a way that feels affirming. It pushes back on the idea that there is only one way for us to exist, speak, and behave. Were there other
There's more than just one way. Trust me. You showed great examples. That is definitely more than just one way.
stereotypical portrayals flatten us to be one way? The way that these characters are portrayed expands on what's possible. And that's how you write a black character. You simply allow them to exist. You simply allow them to be unique. And you simply write a full character who happens to be black, where their identity and culture exist naturally, not as a stereotype.
And that was Toonish, how to write black characters. Let me know what you think about this video. Let me know what you think about this reaction. Let's have a conversation in the comment section. Let me know how you think black characters should be written from now on. You think we should be more than just stereotypes? Let me know. Let's have a conversation in the comment section. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, share it, and yeah, I'll see you in the next one.